I'm curious to know because it would just blow my mind if I had to go from living in my little space in my little house to the next day living in a mansion with limo drivers and cooks and you know, gardeners and everything else. What does that feel like, that flip-flop of going from one experience to another overnight? And what does it feel like for the family, the children, and you and Scott? How did that experience?
Well, I think any move is an adjustment, but this was a really huge adjustment for us. You know, it was hard to get used to having someone drive you, a state trooper driving you for your own safety. It was hard to get used to being in this house. I sometimes think of, I'm at a hotel sometimes. For us, we've been lucky enough to keep our home. Our the boys and Scott's parents live in our house in Wauwatosa. So Scott's parents moved into our house. And so we've been fortunate enough to be able to keep the boys in Wauwatosa in that school district. So we feel lucky about that. And then obviously all of this, we just kind of take it as it comes. And it's a great space for the boys. There's a wonderful area that was redone by the Doyles, and it's a media room with chairs and couches and a kitchen attached. So the boys have been really lucky to be able to enjoy that. So
yeah, well, that is wonderful. And we would love to take a tour of the mansion if we could.
I'd love to show it to you.
Would you show it to us?
Sure, I'd love that.
Okay, let's do that. Okay, what room is this that we're in?
Well, this is our official welcome room, and this year we're going to be showcasing the Civil War here at the residence. It is the sesquicentennial this year, and so we have brought in some of the Wisconsin Historical Society's artifacts, and the Veterans Museum, Milwaukee Veterans Museum, has loaned us a few pieces that are in the library, and we'll be focusing all on the Civil War this year.
Oh, that's so exciting. So are these some of the pieces that you brought in?
These are some of the pieces that they've brought in.
Can we look at them?
This is, these are all Wisconsin soldiers, and it gives you a little bit about how they participated. There were 90,000 soldiers that participated in the Civil War. It was a huge amount of the men that were in Wisconsin. There were only 770,000 people living here at the time, so 90,000 of the men were gone, and so we played a huge part in the Civil War. When you come for a tour, we have tours every Thursday afternoon. You'll see some of these. There's also 150 Civil War celebrations going on all year. So if you go to the Wisconsin Historical Society's website, you'll find some of those reenactments that are going to be going on.
What is your favorite room in the mansion?
Well, you know, our favorite room, actually all of us, I think if you asked all of us, would be the library.
Oh my
so
goodness.
We've
this
been
is gorgeous.
Fortunate enough to get a few of the artifacts from the Veterans Museum, and they've loaned us a flag and a saber, and
oh my goodness, look at that flag. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, it's really
and
that was actually Scott's
that's from
idea.
When? That's from what era?
Oh, this is the Civil War. It's from
Civil War.
1862, and so actually that was Scott's idea. Scott wanted to put Civil War artifacts in here, and so he had even actually asked if they could find a flag for him, and they did, and so it was nice. But it's a nice cozy room that we enough for all four of us to just kind of hunker down in.
Yes. And there is President Reagan.
We do have President Reagan up there right now. There's a general coming that will go up there from the Civil War, but we had a Ronald Reagan dinner here for his 100th birthday, and so that was framed, and we put that up there for that. And you know, it'll change a little bit now and then through the year, but right now.
Do you get a chance to
enjoying
come
it.
in here and actually go through the library and read some books?
I have
or-
read one book that I pulled out in almost the first week I got here, because I actually didn't know how to work the TV set, and I was kind of, kind of looking for something to do a little bit, and so I read A Tree Grows in Brooklyn.
Oh, how wonderful.
I
That's a
know,
great
I mean,
story.
really, it was fabulous. I mean, it's an old
Yes.
book that I probably read 30, 40 years
Yes.
ago, and here I am reading again, so
Yeah.
it was wonderful.
And over here, I see that you have a nice chess table.
And actually, that is my son's. It belongs to
Oh.
my boys. It was a
Uh-huh.
gift from their grandparents.
Oh my
And
goodness.
it was at our
That's a
house in
beautiful
Wauwatosa, so we
set.
just kind of moved that over here, so that works out
Yeah.
great.
So that brings home into the library.
It does a little bit,
So you're
yeah.
kind of, this is your little home away from home here
Yeah.
in the mansion.
Yeah, we've been mixing a few of our own pictures and photographs of the boys, and that
Yeah.
helps.
Yeah,
wanna
I
make
bet
it
it really
home.
does. Yeah.
It really does.
Where are you from originally?
I'm originally from Milwaukee.
Oh, you are. So you're
Born
a
and
native
raised in
Wisconsin.
Milwaukee.
Yes.
So I've been fortunate to stay close to home,
Yes.
and my family is in Milwaukee, so
Yeah.
it's not too far away to see them.
Right. And how did you and Scott meet?
Scott and I met at Saz's. It was karaoke night,
Oh.
and he was there with friends, and I was with friends, and so he actually slipped me a note on his way out the door. We caught each other's eye,
Uh-huh.
but we didn't say anything to each other that
Uh-huh.
night. But he slipped me a note, and so I called him, and the
Oh
note
my
said,
goodness.
the note said, if you're interested, give me a call, and that was it.
Oh, isn't that
Yeah.
something? That's a wonderful story.
Yeah.
And that
We-
was it from then on.
You know,
just
it
started
really was.
dating
We started dating, and then we were married. I think we met in May. Our first date was May, and the following February we were married.
Wow.
Scott slipped me another note one night when we were in there and asked if I would marry him, and then on our wedding night we went back and he wrote me
He's
another
big on
note.
notes.
He's a good guy, and he's
Yes.
romantic, and so
Yes.
it worked out good.
Oh, that's
for-
fabulous. So overall, how have you and Scott and the boys adapted to the mansion as a family?
The boys are here part-time, and that's our biggest problem for Scott and I. The boys
Oh.
don't live here, so they're back and forth,
Are
and we're
they?
back and forth. So I think that's the hardest part, is that when they're here, it feels like home. They live in Wauwatosa with Scott's parents, and so they go to school during the week, and then
see.
they're back here on the weekends. And occasionally I'm back and forth.
Uh-huh.
I try not to be away too long, a
I
couple of
see.
days here, and then a couple of days in there in Wauwatosa.
Yeah.
And then Scott's back and forth when he gets the opportunity. But
Okay.
we're adjusting.
Yes. I
It's-
see.
I'm not sure we're all settled in yet,
Right.
but every day gets better than the next. So
Yes. It's a new lifestyle.
it is.